So in between our applications and our first case, I'm going to ask to take a look. Okay. I'm going to ask to take a look at the proposed schedule for next year.
Oh, yeah.
And any comments on it. We can talk about it, and then if there's no comments, or we can see if we can vote on it
Okay.
before the public hearing. Hello. I've got your email printed over here.
Oh dear. You have a live version of it too.
You had a pretty big agenda tonight. If you don't mind, save a couple minutes. I was going to hand these out when I come up.
Sure. Thank you.
Sure. How's everybody doing tonight?
Not bad, yourself?
Well,
It's okay, thanks.
Rebecca will not be here today.
oh no.
Thank you.
Sure.
Was out digging a hole somewhere.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get started. We'll start by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Cindy.
Mary Lorenzo,
Here.
Rebecca Anderson, John Colfax,
Present.
Anthony Gorski,
Here.
Joseph Peak,
Here.
Lawrence Korzeniski,
He's here.
Michael Ryan.
Present. Every time you walk in, it's...
Okay, welcome everyone. This is a meeting of the Planning Board of the Town of Lancaster. Please keep in mind that we are an advisory and recommending board and not a final decision-making body. The rules of the Planning Board allow us to recognize only the petitioners of various projects and the representatives. We ask that anyone wishing to make comment do so in writing. Okay, board, you should have the previous minutes in front of you. Any additions, deletions, or comments? Hearing none, ask for a motion to accept.
So moved.
A second.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Great. We'll move on to the communications list. Any questions? All right. Prior to our first public hearing, board members emailed to you, and then in front of you right now is the proposed 2024 calendar. Open it up for any questions or comments on that. Hearing none, I'd look for a motion to accept.
I'll move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Perfect. All right, I will make a motion to open up the public hearing for the Pine Hill Estate subdivision. Look for someone for a second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, we'll now open up the public hearing for project number 9082, Pine Hill Estates. Yeah, the public hearing. Hello, Mike.
Hello. Good evening. For the record, my name is Michael Metzger with Metzger Civil Engineering, 8245 Sheridan Drive, Williamsville, New York, and I'm here representing the Pine Hill Estates subdivision, clients of that subdivision. It is a public hearing. I don't know, I mean, you've heard everything that I was going to present for the public, but I don't know if there's anybody that's going to want to speak tonight.
If you have the option to speak if you want, if you've already spoken to the board, if you,
Right.
you don't have to speak at all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're familiar with it, so I won't bore you with it. We've looked at it several times. But I will touch on some of the stuff that we talked about last time. There was a couple of things that you asked us to do. One of which was to make sure that there is a deed covenant on the two lots where the cemetery is, the old historic cemetery, and make sure that that is in place, reviewed by the town attorney's office, and in place prior to the map being filed. Obviously, we're at preliminary plat stage. We still have final plat stage before we can file a map, but we have that in the works, and that will be done. We will comply with that, not a problem. The other one was the submap. Again, that comes into play. We're looking at the preliminary plat now. The subdivision map will come into play with the final plat, and we are, at your request, showing the approximate limits of the federal wetlands on there. And then the last thing was to make sure that we show, put some fencing. We have a split rail fence that we were asked to put around the cemetery area, and then during construction have that identified with a construction fence, an orange construction fence that would be 5 meters away from the cemetery. And we also have that. So what I handed out was just something that showed that little addition. It didn't affect anything else as it relates to the subdivision, the lot lines, or anything else. Just give you a real quick view of the split rail fence, which is not there. It's on this one. Typical split rail fence. Nothing exciting.
Yep.
That's what we would have. So we have shown on the plan to be 5 meters away. So I think we've addressed everything that had come up. And as I described at our last meeting, I went into detail on all of the prior comments that had been brought up through the town engineer and the code enforcement officer and how we'd address those. So with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Okay, thank you. At this point, we'll call for any public comments. For the second time, we'll call for any public comments. And for the third time, we'll call for any public comments. Hearing none, I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We'll now close the public hearing. Seems to me like you've already gone over everything on the project. Yeah, so at this point, we should probably take a look at seeker, right? Was this short or long? This was long, right? Long? See. Do I need a motion for seeker? No, it's gone. Okay, go through seeker here. Number 1, impact on land. Proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, okay.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll go through it then. The proposed action may involve construction on land where depth to water table is less than 3 foot. No?
It's small.
Small. No or small. Proposed action may involve construction on slopes of 15% or greater.
Yeah, I mean, those slopes, there are slopes going down that lake that are pretty steep, so, but it's based on where they have, yeah, based on where they have the house, it'd be a small impact.
Not by the residences.
Are we saying no to small on that as well? Okay. Proposed action may involve construction on land where bedrock is exposed or generally within 5 foot of existing ground surface.
I don't believe so.
No gravel.
Yeah,
No. No or small?
yeah,
Proposed action may involve the excavation and removal of more than 1,000 tons of natural material. No. No or small, right? Proposed action may involve construction that that continues for more than 1 year or in multiple phases.
land and building. I mean, this is a bit of a unique substance.
No or small. The proposed action may result in increased erosion, whether from physical disturbance or vegetation removal.
It's mitigated, so it's small.
No or small.
Yeah.
Proposed action is or may be located within a coastal erosion hazard area. No or small, right? Not applicable. So we're overall, we're going to say it's a yes on that?
Well, yeah, yes.
Yes, but no or small, right, overall. Number 2, impact on geological features. Proposed action may result in modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on the site.
No.
No. Number 3, impacts on surface water. Proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies. So, no. Number 4, impact on groundwater. Proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have the potential to introduce contaminants to groundwater or an aquifer. No. Number 5, impact on flooding. The proposed action may result in development on land subject to flooding.
Well, I think we've been going back and forth that there is some flooding, right?
No, the bottom,
Some of the properties.
down the bottom there, it's in the floodplain, but
Floodplain is at the northern line, and then it extends within the pond itself. But we're not doing any work within the limits of the floodplain itself.
Okay.
say no.
So we'll say no?
Thank you.
Okay. Number 6, impacts on air. Proposed action may include a state-regulated air emission source. No. Number Number 7, impacts on plants and animals. Proposed action may result in loss of flora or fauna.
No.
No.
It's all previously disturbed mine area.
So that's a no. Number 8, impact on agricultural resources. The proposed action may impact agricultural resources. Say no. Number 9, impact on aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or are in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource.
No.
No. Number 10, impact on historic and archaeological resources. The proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource.
Yeah.
No.
Cemetery.
Well, the cemetery, but they've established the fence and the boundaries, so
Go through. Probably all small or no. but-
Okay, we'll say yes and then we'll go
we could
through.
say yes and have it on
Okay.
record with the.
Yep. Sure. Proposed action may occur wholly or partially within or substantially contiguous to any buildings, archaeological site, or district which is listed on the National or State Register of Historic Places, or that has been determined by the Commissioner of New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Places.
Small.
No or small. Proposed action may wholly or partially within or substantially contiguous to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office Archaeological Site Inventory.
Believe
No or small.
Yeah, we've got a SHPO sign off.
So no or small.
No.
Proposed action may occur wholly or partially within or substantially contiguous to an archaeological site not included in the New York State SHPO inventory.
SHPO didn't identify any.
No, small. Okay, so I think at this point, do we call that a
Yes, but small.
yes but small? Okay. Number 11, impact on open space and recreation. Proposed action may result in loss of recreational opportunities or reduction of an open space resource as designated in any adopted municipal open space plan. No. Number 12, doesn't apply. Number 13, impact on transportation. Proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems. That's a no.
No.
Number 14, impact on energy. Proposed action may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy.
No.
That's a no. Number 15, impact on noise, odor, and light. Proposed action may result in an increase in noise, odors, or outdoor lighting.
No.
No. Number 16, impact on human health. Proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to or existing sources of contaminants. No. 17, consistency with community plans. Proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. No. 18, consistency with community character. Proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character.
No.
No. So overall, we'll say
No or small.
no or small, right?
Then we got a motion.
Yep. So at this point, we'll look for a motion then?
I'll move for a negative declaration on the project.
Look for a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We need a motion now for, We're done.
And what do we do with it now that we have seeker, revised preliminary plat plan review? Approval?
We can go to approval then?
Yep.
Okay, look for a motion then?
Yep.
Look for a motion on the preliminary plat plan,
I'll make that motion.
and I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Wait, 1 second.
Nope.
If you don't mind, if I could just add something only because this has been a topic of consternation in the last couple of cycles. The recommendation should come with either positive or favorable recommendation to waive the sidewalk requirement as outlined in chapter 310 of the code.
Okay.
This was discussed early on, but it was never formally adopted or recommended or discussed. And the only waiver to be granted by the town.
Okay. Cindy, did you get that
Thank you.
as part of it? You got the motion and the second?
The motion by Joe King, and then the second was by Chair Lorenzo, and then the comment of Matt about the sidewalk waiver.
And did you catch the vote before we got that or not?
No.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good night. Okay, we'll move to, I'll make a motion to open up a public hearing, number 2, for Anastasi minor subdivision.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Are you here for Anastasi, sir?
No, he's here for a ride.
Oh, okay. You can ask.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say on this one, so,
It's the public hearing at this point.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. At this point, we'll open up to the public for any comments or questions. Again, we'll open up to the public for any comments or questions. And for a third time, we'll open up to the public for any comments or questions. At this point, I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, now we'll look at the revised preliminary plat plan for the minor subdivision.
Has anything changed?
Has anything changed?
No, Ken Zouch with the engineering firm GPI. Board saw this a few weeks back. We really haven't had any changes to the subdivision layout or for the proposed building, which was located at the, if you recall, the topsoil storage covered building located up at the north end of the project. Really no changes because of the generally insignificant nature of this plan itself. So really here just to answer any questions the board may have and address any final concerns.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Ed, any questions from you? Matt?
Had several discussions with the project's attorney about dealing with the creation of a non-conforming parcel on the west side of this two-lot split. Went back and forth, and as late as 1:30 this afternoon, still no resolution to that. And I'm adamantly opposed to creating a non-conforming lot.
Okay. I don't know.
So what's the solution?
So
What do you think your solution?
My recommendation months ago was to merge this with contiguous parcels that are owned by the same former owner to make it a conforming parcel.
I did have a chance to briefly talk with Mr. Palumbo there this afternoon just about the concern there, and obviously We understand the nature of it, creating a non-conforming lot. We believe there's an avenue that we can pursue. Obviously, there's two ways to go about it. One is to try to go back to callbacks to the original owner, have them merge the parcels. Some of that's out of our hands, just given the nature of the fact that they're not the ones presenting this project, Anastasia is. The other option that we had discussed was the potential of an open development area, which is essentially allowing a parcel to be not have frontage, and you provide means of access through either a right-of-way or a public or an easement. We do have easements provided across our property to reach that back property. We have 2 of them that are already in place. You know, they come off of Central Road here, come up through the property through the north end there, as well as through the south end. We believe the open development area would be the most straightforward, just in the fact that we wouldn't necessarily have to deal with callbacks and trying to work out ownership and access with them. For tonight's meeting, we can discuss with the board. I mean, my opinion is that we have a couple of actions in front of the board tonight: seeker, the subdivision, and the site plan. I understand there may be some concerns on the subdivision end of it. For the site plan, regardless of whether this parcel has been split or not, the building that we have here meets every setback, whether there's a parcel line, whether there's not. It meets the setbacks, it meets the requirements, so we'd at least hope for an approval on the site plan tonight. We understand if there's some hesitancy and some concern from the board regarding the subdivision end of it. So, you know, we'd be fine with keeping that dialogue going with the town and trying to work for a resolution on the subdivision portion. Anastasia, of course, is just interested in trying to get this structure up before winter, which is why ideally we could have seeker addressed, because he's, you know, I'll obviously leave it up to the board to decide, but in our opinion, there's no significant impact from this project.
So which part does Colback's own?
Colbeck's owns what would be the back portion up through here. You can kind of see this is the lot division line right there. So they own this property in the back there. I had previously owned, you know, this section up front here, but had sold that off to Anastasia for their use.
And who owns the other piece?
Corner piece, to be honest, I think Anastasia also now owns that, but
Anastasia owns that northeastern corner. As of 11 p.m. last night, Callback still owns the entire parcel. Was that deed transferred to Anastasia for the described area that we're proposing tonight?
Yeah,
By the county clerk's office.
it was my understanding that it was, although GPI did not do the survey, so I haven't seen any documentation confirming one way or the other.
And that's the discussion that I think we're having a little bit of a disconnect with, because again, as of 11 o'clock last night, this is one contiguous parcel filed with the Real Property Services Program, which is information that's filed at the Erie County Clerk's office. We are continuously being told the parcel has already been sold and that property was transferred to Anastasia, which is an illegal transfer of property. It was an illegal split. It's non-conforming. You can't create a non-conforming property. And that's why we're here in front of this board.
So it kind of sounds to me like we shouldn't vote on anything until that gets resolved.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you can go through secret.
We can do seeker and vote on seeker.
Yeah. My recommendation is to get seeker completed. Make your recommendation, and then until all I's are dotted, T's are crossed, you can't make a recommendation for a split.
Okay,
If that's the case, then if it's still one piece of property, now you want to consider putting a building on this, we need the owner's authorization.
Yep.
To take an action on a property that is proposed to be sold to another property owner. Again, we don't have documentation that the deed was transferred to Anastasia from, I want to get this right.
Colback.
Quarry, that's Quarry LLC.
You understand where we're coming from, right, Ken?
Yeah, no, I do. I know some of the stuff is, you know, out of my
Yeah, you
hands.
thought that it was taken care of already, but
Yeah.
as you said, it wasn't GPI that did it.
No, we did not do any survey work out here.
Okay, at least we can do seeker. so
Yeah, we'll go
hold
through
that up.
seeker then and
That's the long.
get,
Yeah.
right? That's short form, right?
Yes.
Okay. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations?
No?
No. Will the proposed action result in change in the use or intensity of the use of land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
4 doesn't apply. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies? No. Public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the quality or character of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. Okay. At this point, we'll look for a motion.
Motion for negative deck.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, recommend a negative declaration. And then we'll table the other until we can come to some resolution or have some more communication regarding the creation of the illegal lot, or I'm not sorry, the non-conforming lot. Sorry about that.
Make a motion for each of them.
Pardon?
Make a motion for each of the different projects.
Oh, each of them? Okay. Motion to table, right? Yeah. So I will make a motion to table the preliminary plat.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then I will also make a motion to table the amended site plan.
I think that's a different one, isn't it?
No, same project.
Oh, same one, okay.
Yeah, same project.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you, Ken.
See you next time.
All right, we will move on to project number 2202, O'Reilly Auto Parts. First one here, last one to go up. That's right.
Excuse my exhibits. I grabbed the wrong size poster board on the way out here, so they're a little goofy looking. Not as much support as needed. Hopefully they stay. Perfect. So good evening, my name is Hayden Woods with Bowler Engineering, here to represent O'Reilly Auto Parts for the proposed redevelopment located at 5057 Transit Road in the village, or the town of Lancaster. I know previously my colleague Chris Boyer introduced the project a few weeks ago, so I'll spare you with the long introduction and just give you some quick updates on where we've been since we've been here. We have received engineering comments and have addressed them. I believe they're still under review. And if there's any further engineering comments, we'll be sure to work with the town engineer and staff to make sure that those are all satisfied. We have also made some updates to the landscaping plan to revise the blue spruces due to their disease proneness, and we put in some hardwood maples in there as well. So we have also received DOT Stage 1 approval They're very close to receiving DOT Stage 2 approval for the driveway access. We're expecting that within, we'll be submitting for DOT Stage 2 approval this week, and more than likely we'll be receiving that within the next couple of weeks. We have also submitted to the DEC for the wetland buffer impact study, and are expecting their review anytime now. Besides that, the plans have remained the same. It's 42 parking stalls with 2 ADA, public utilities with water, sewer, gas, and electric, a full screen dumpster enclosure, dark sky compliant site lighting, and landscaping throughout the project. Just to rehash, this is a redevelopment project. There is currently a single-family home on the property that is proposed to be demolished, and we will be under 1 acre of disturbance, so we will not need a SWIP. At this time,
Thank you. At this point, we'll open up to the board for any questions or comments. By the way, thank you for changing those species out. Birthday girl, although she's not here. Appreciate that. Ed, any questions, comments?
No, they addressed the drainage.
Okay. Great. Matt, anything from you?
No.
Emily? Okay. Well, I think we should probably go into seeker then, right? Right. Pardon? Short form, yeah. Okay, we'll start our seeker review. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No or small. Will the proposed action result in change in the use or intensity of the use of land? No. Small. No or small. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No or small. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No or small, right? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies? No. Public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in natural resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, and drainage problems?
No.
Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
Okay. Look for a motion.
Motion to declare negative deck.
Second by Larry. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you.
This project also needs a public hearing, correct? No? I had that in mind. I apologize. Just wanted to make sure that.
No.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Pardon?
Vote on the site plan.
Site plan approval.
Oh, yeah, site plan. Sorry about that. Yep, that's a good one. Made it all the way to the end. Look for a motion on the site plan.
I'll make a motion that we approve the site plan as submitted.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Matt, before we,
The only caveat is that all the outside agency approvals will be needed before town.
condition on, yes,
Before town board can.
yes. Condition on the outside agency's approval before we can send it over to the town board for approval. Before the town board can approve, sorry about that.
That'd be, just for your records, water, sewer, DOT,
Just finishing what you were,
DEC.
Right, right. Okay. All right, perfect.
and opposed, say no. Okay, now we're great. Now,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always find it's right.
Yeah.
All I think about when you call it.
You're gonna start hearing the jingles here soon.
Yeah.
Too bad we traded them.
Okay. Matt, anything else from you? Any other business?
Or have, say, if we're having any discussions on the proposed form changes and or site plan applications, subdivision and comments. I've been following along with kind of one eye and one ear to stay with everything.
I haven't seen any from the board. I don't believe.
I'm just watching at this point.
I'll bring up a comment. The last Monday, we had a final plat on the agenda for Field Street. And code said they had to have a public hearing, which they did. There was half a dozen people that commented, some substantial. The comment is, too bad they weren't here when we had the public hearing on the preliminary plat, which is when it would have been more easier to input what we had. And to follow up a little bit on what Chuck was talking about, public involvement here. So I think that needs to be discussed.
I think it should too.
You would need, then if you're gonna do something like make us the decision-making body, get all the stuff that Amherst has as far as the work, planning.
And also, no, it's separate from the decision-making body, it's just allowing the public to speak here
Oh.
on projects, so that you guys have their input, make changes. Or
You mean outside of the public hearing?
outside of that? They used to do that.
I'd have to change my mantra.
Yeah, there's a whole speech I don't.
Yeah, I can't remember when we did have that, we never had a public comment.
Not a public
Maybe
hearing.
one or two, it was very sparse for this project, I don't recall,
It is fun.
for the
Yeah.
plat, I don't recall it. But just to summarize it, light at night because it's dark, speed, and traffic. Those were the three items that have been discussed Monday night, which we pretty much pounded the developer throughout the entire, not so much the street lighting. The street lighting again is more,
No, come out to design.
it's easy to mitigate in my opinion, but speed was a consideration because there's a breaking point where the 40 turns to 55. It's, east of the existing west of the
Eastern Avian Way.
between the two avions, we'll call it, right? In my memory, I do recall either a recommendation to move that farther down past those developments, or you could just run it 40 all the way to Schwartz. I mean, these are not hard to address, not hard to mitigate. One of the points that I did not, or was not able to recall in my memory, in some of the comments, that the developer was going to improve on that property was the solid double striping of William Street, the entire length of the development. So there is going to be no passing anyways, where there is passing now at higher speed. But again, these comments would have been well taken at the preliminary plat public hearing.
Yeah.
But it pretty much reinforced what this board had already discussed with the developer to get to where that project is right now.
Okay. Ed, any other comments?
Well, I know there was some discussion, maybe we're waiting for Rebecca to deal with that Harris Hill sketch. We're talking about, we kind of sent away with, come back, we didn't say come back with what?
Yeah.
Well,
Only if he wants to get beaten.
the traffic study was the first one we told them. It has to be done at an appropriate time of the day.
Yeah, that won't be done in sketch. Yeah. That's part of preliminary. So if there's anything with what they present, that's the question, is what they presented acceptable or not? No. As far as a layout. And if not, why not?
Why? That's the why.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the other comment I had when we were talking earlier about seeker. We all probably realized recently how much more traffic there is when school starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is the traffic study done when school's in session or not when school's in session? And it's pretty darn close to Lancaster High School. So when school's in session, I would think would make a major difference opposed to when school's not in session in the middle of July.
Oh, it's night and day.
Right.
Well, I think Larry was speaking to that too when he's talking about the time when the studies are done.
Great.
Yeah, morning rush, it's called morning peak and afternoon peak.
Yeah.
Morning peak is typically like 7 to 9, and then afternoon is usually like 4 to 6. But we could make them change that to like 2:30 to 4:30. That's when school's getting.
Was it the school?
We can make them shift that peak time frame.
I can't see how anyone would get out of that subdivision and go east
No.
to get out of there. We'd have to wait for people to light you through. You know,
And the other question was the termination of that road versus coming out to Harris Hill.
well,
Oh yeah, it was a weird termination, turnaround, right? Like it didn't.
Yeah, there was. There's no way a
that's not-
truck
So
or a
that's
bus
our
or
reason to
something would
sketch for
turn
now.
around.
Right, so I mean, that would be, your decision was sketches not approved because we want to see the connection to Harris Hill. So they have to come back with the connection.
Even then, a connection to Harris Hill is only going to give you a right out.
Pretty,
Left.
well,
Yeah, no one's gonna
during the
come
peaks, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't make it from Worley. Right. No, really, it's
Yeah.
from Belvedere, at least Belvedere on.
I
It's
got
4 or
something.
5 changes of lights.
Yeah, I was coming down tonight from Maine to Worley. I saw the lights. I just turned on Worley, went over the pavement. I just went around, you know.
It's amazing because sometimes you go up transit because there's less traffic.
Yeah,
That's
I know. Isn't
a lot.
that something?
Yeah.
That's so. I've never said that before. I guess if we're talking the sketch alone, exiting to Harris Hill is the only problem with the sketch, I guess.
Okay.
Well, you need a traffic study.
Still doesn't make it. Yeah, but I mean, as far
That's-
as the drawing of the plan, that's the only
The
thing.
traffic study would come in during.
Well, what about the back ends that are along the creek? Wasn't there a base elevation?
They were proposing that to be a conservation area.
Oh, because didn't the last, or a couple of developers who came in here, Rebecca was hammering base elevation levels?
Yeah, well, they were developing in the floodplain.
Oh.
These guys are pulling away
Okay.
from it. So.
Yeah, that's why they
Everything's
went down
outside.
to 20
Yeah.
houses or 28 or whatever it is now. I think it was a lot more originally or something.
Yeah, Mike had.
Yeah.
Anything else? I have one other item that Cindy sent out to you today. It was a proposed building moratorium, commercial, from the town, commercial residential use. There's a public hearing October 2nd. If it goes through, there'll be no applications, permits, or COs for a year, if I read it correctly.
For mixed use?
If it gets approved, it might be a tall order for projects that are already underway, that are already permitted, already approved, await certificates of occupancy. I don't think an amendment to the zoning ordinance precludes, or is one of the deciding factors of issuing a certificate of occupancy when the building is constructed according to the state standards. That may be difficult. And I would expect an application.
I think that, yeah, that's the way it was written. So, I mean, everybody has it from the board. We sent it out to you today. Make sure that you had a copy of it. I don't know if you want to make comments on it. Feel free. I don't know what it's going to
That's the
do.
purpose of public comment,
Yeah.
is to bring up and have those discussions about what is being proposed for adoption.
Yeah.
The other comment on that is typically for a moratorium, you have to state what the end goal is. You bring a moratorium in for 6 months or a year until we do this, whether it's change in zoning, make a comp plan, or it's just stop for a year.
Okay. Emily, did I ask you if you had anything?
No.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
It's all right. No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, well, I'm going to move to adjourn then. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Multiple seconds.
Meeting adjourned. I gotta fly.
Hey, yeah, Cindy. Cindy,
Behave yourself.
Yeah, right. We're going. Nice. It's gonna be nice weather. Make it 11.
Where's it heading?
Stay there.
Is he
The
actually
fan
somewhere?
just keeps running.
Good night, everyone.
lifting everything off the ship. Yeah, take care, Jim.
I gotta wear a sweater.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's warm today.